is everybody today? Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. It's nice to see all your smiley faces. We welcome everybody who's watching from all around the world. I'm your host, Jim Masters. This is our incredible week anniversary that we've been having, and it's been extraordinary. Last week, we had a one-year anniversary, but this week, we've been celebrating it in style with amazing additional guests, and we had a big epic one-year anniversary extravaganza live on the air. We're coming to you live right now here on the Jim Masters Show Live, JMS Live. And if you didn't see that anniversary episode, it was 3 hours of celebrity friends and guests and video tributes from celebrity friends and guests and viewers, as well as lots of photos and great conversation, lots of humor, a ton of laughs, and also some poignant moments and some very funny moments that we looked back over 1 year in some 400 episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live. Today, live, we have composer and pianist and lyricist extraordinaire Michael Roberts, and he is positioned at his piano. He's going to play live. We also have some special content to show you guys as well. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. This is freestyle, conversational. It's a mix of great, inspiring conversations with terrific friends and guests from all walks of life: Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, culinary arts, sports, comedy, you name it, inspiration. And I do this work professionally, as we mentioned multiple times. You know, I work in television, radio, and stage. And this is an entertainment lifestyle talk show series that puts smiles on people's faces, connects us all, and we have a good time. So good to see you here. For those of you who are watching live, we welcome you. Those who are watching this later in the replay in our archives on Jim Masters TV, we welcome you as well. It's good to have you here. A lot of people like to binge watch our series later on after it's live, because not everybody can be here when it's live, of course. We all have lives to lead, so we realize that. So however you're watching it live right now, or you're watching it later in the archives, we welcome you, and it's awesome to have you here. And scroll back and look at the many episodes we have, 400 episodes plus of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. That is big time for us here. That really helps our show. It helps the channel, and it allows us to continue to deliver to you extraordinary content. There it is, Jim Masters TV. It's the channel you're watching right now on YouTube. Subscribe, click that notification bell. Why do we say that? Because whenever we upload, content, or we do surprise pop-up shows, or one of our daily 7-day-a-week live episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series, you'll never miss a thing, and you can be a part of the action as it's happening. So we have 2 shows today. For those of you that are watching live, Michael Roberts is on right now. And then tonight, we have award-winning singer, songwriter, and composer Dee Dee O'Malley. She's very big in country music. She's very big in pop. She's written music for many other artists and for films and television, so much more. She's going to perform live. Matter of fact, in addition to Dee Dee O'Malley, there's a special guest. One of her duet partners is going to be joining her live on the show tonight, and they're going to be performing live. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. That's for those that are watching live right now. If you're watching this again in the archives after it's aired live, just scroll through our YouTube channel page, Jim Masters TV, and you can see that Dee Dee O'Malley episode here on JMS Live. Good to see everybody. Welcome. We got a nice cup of hot Java, some nice coffee here in the afternoon that we toast all of you with. We always have something to toast our audience with. It's nice to see all these smiley faces. Let's check in with some of our great lovities, as we call them. Hello, Jim and Lovity Squad. Good to see you, Juanita, who's watching in South Africa. And Jen says, welcome, Michael. Absolutely. Good to see you, Jennifer, in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And Mary Bishop is toasting as well. Good to see all the great folks joining us here. And again, anybody watching this later on, we welcome you as well. Hey, Jim, how's it going? Hi, everyone. Terrific. Super busy day because we have 2 shows today, double levity, and we have 2 shows tomorrow. Wow. And it's the weekend. We're supposed to be at the beach with our feet in the sand. Hello, everybody. Good to see you, Jen. And Merlin is here from Ontario, Canada. Good to see you as well. And everybody that's chiming in. We're going to check more of the fantastic comments coming up in just a second. First, we do want to welcome live and direct from New York, our great friend, Michael Roberts. Again, he's an award-winning composer and lyricist, as well as producer, epic producer, and pianist. And he is positioned at his piano right now. Let's welcome him on the show. Michael, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Jim. Having a great time.
How are you? You're positioned at your nice, beautiful piano. You look all comfortable. You're in your Zen place right now, aren't you, my friend?
This is my studio. Yeah, this is where I try to make the magic happen.
So tell us about the piano that you are in front of. It looks beautiful.
I'm glad you asked because it's a Baldwin that I inherited, a Baldwin, and as much as I love playing Steinways and Yamahas, there's something about just the utility of a Baldwin that absolutely always has spoken to me. But this piano is special, actually, not only to me but to people who are into popular music history. The late great Marvin Hamlish wrote his last song on this piano here in this apartment. It's a long story, but it's true. Marvin did
Wow.
write. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, the most pivotal person in my professional life and a great friend and mentor is the legendary Rupert Holmes. And I worked on a TV show of Rupert's called Remember When on AMC for 3 seasons. It was just amazing. Wrote music for that. And anyway, Rupert lives outside of the city right now, and he needed to come to New York to write a song with a friend. And so he called and said, "Do you mind if I come over and work on a song with a friend here?" And of course, I'm like, "Absolutely fine." Of course, I live in Midtown Manhattan, and I said, "Of course." And so he came over. I didn't know who his friend was, and Rupert and I catch up. We chat for a little bit, and there's a knock on the door, and it's Marvin Hamlish. And so Marvin's
That's what you call a knock on the door.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
knock.
Very often it's a pizza or whatever. This time
Yeah.
it happens to be Marvin Hamlish without a pizza. So he came, introduced himself. I snuck into my studio, which was in a different room than this room at the time, and they worked for a few hours and wrote a song. And then the three of us chatted for quite a bit, and Marvin left, and so that's it. But very sadly, a few months after that, Marvin passed away. But it was a great honor to have him play my piano. Great honor to chat with him and all that.
That is amazing. Wow, that is incredible. So that's a very special instrument you have there in your home. Ah, boy. So let's talk about some of the amazing work that you've done. And it's great to have you here on a nice Saturday afternoon during our live show. We have our lovely viewers around the world. We have an international audience, and they're commenting as we're going along here, Michael. Tell us about some of the early inspirations for you too. You know, growing up, were you surrounded by music in your home? Where was the inspiration coming from for you to aspire to and pursue music?
Well, first of all, I grew up, it sounds like not too far from you. I'm a Suffolk County boy, and I grew up in a town called Dix Hills, which is part of a bigger town called Huntington.
Sure. Yeah. North Shore of Long Island. Yeah.
Yeah. A beautiful place to grow up. And my entire youth was surrounded by culture. My parents were educators. My dad was an assistant principal. And we constantly went to concerts in the park, classical concerts, tons of Broadway shows, absolutely everything.
We were lucky on Long Island, weren't we? Class trips too. Sometimes our class trips in school were to go into a Broadway show or Radio City Music Hall or Empire State Building, whatever it is, Museum of Natural History. And we thought nothing of it. It's like, you mean everybody doesn't do that? We were very lucky.
Right. It was like, oh, well, you know, what are we doing this week? I'm going to Broadway show. And we're like, another one? You know, we just went last week to a Broadway show. Can't we go to see the New York Philharmonic this time? You know, so it's very spoiled. But my parents weren't particularly musically talented or artistically talented, as far as I know. But my sister sang and played the piano. My brother is an actor. And after a brief foray into pre-law political science, I went to music school. So yeah, it was just that, you know, this. It was the very privileged ability to live so close to Manhattan.
Really, absolutely. And all the great beaches on the North and South Shore too. So
right. It's a strange combination of Broadway shows and fishing.
Fishing and
Yeah,
diners and
absolutely. They're still there.
so you said you went to school and what was happening in school for you? Were you getting involved in some of the school productions and musical events, and that was just triggering things further for you as far as gaining the
Yeah.
skill set, the experience, and the tenacity and resilience?
Yeah, I started very young at piano, and I think it became, I mean, as it is with some people, it becomes clear, uh, either you take to it very naturally as if you were an athlete taking to a sport naturally, and the piano made sense to me from a very, very early age. And so therefore, you know this, it was almost it is a cliche where
Yeah.
every school has this one guy who plays the piano, and he plays for
Yes.
every show, and he plays for this and that was me.
Oh, you were
So,
that kid.
I
Yes. It
was
was
that guy. Yeah.
Donald was the kid in sixth grade that our music teacher, Mrs. Sebastian, always said, "You're going to be the one at the piano. You're going to be the one doing, you know,
Right.
whenever we had plays, because we would be acting in the plays, he would be the one that would be tasked with having to do it." And did you enjoy it, or
I did.
you did? Yeah,
I did.
you
Yeah.
did. That's
I
the key,
yeah.
because sometimes some kids don't early on.
Yeah,
You
I
have to
know
love
that
it.
with many kids who are, I wouldn't say I was a prodigy, but I had some chops at an early age. There is very often, not, I don't know how often, but sometimes their parents will push them towards it.
Yeah, right.
My parents were frightened to death that I'd want to be a professional musician, which is exactly what happened. So
And
they should have encouraged me. It would have been a totally different story.
I was going to say, and along the way, what would you say was probably that pivotal moment where, okay, you're going along here, and then could be a project, an opportunity, a meeting of some, other person, an entity. What was one of those pivotal? Might have been several too, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
maybe one of the first early on moments for you that really started shooting things in that fast track positive direction for you.
Interestingly enough, I'd say like a very seminal moment for me was when I was at Penn State studying political science and pre-law. Of course, I did as little of that as possible and as much music as possible. And I sang in the chorus, and of course, at the college level, you're doing it with orchestra, and we did the Haydn Lord Nelson Mass, we did the Poulenc Gloria. So we did these masterworks of classical music, which, although I knew classical music growing up, I didn't know that work, and I didn't know any classical work that intimately. And singing with an orchestra around you and singing this extraordinary music made me realize that I thought I knew music, but the world is endless, and it's fascinating. So yeah, it was that. That was the most important one.
Mm. Uh, I think when you have moments like that and you really soak them in and you really appreciate them, then it just opens your eyes and all your senses to receive the gifts of all the other things that follow, especially when you really work hard and hone your craft, which you certainly have. And, we work in these industries that demand a lot of our energy, emotion, time, sacrifice. Um, a lot, in these industries that we've chosen to be in. And how do you work through all of that? I mean, I'm sure there's times when you're like, okay, I'm tired today, or I just want to do something different, but yet, it's calling on you to let's get this going and let's get it done. What are some of the ways that you do that? Because again, none of this comes easy. We make it all look easy and
Yeah.
effortless and like just anybody can flip a switch and do it. But behind all of it, there's
Right.
so much that goes into it, so much of oneself too.
Absolutely. I find what works best for me is a disproportionate amount of anxiety. I find that being really OCD about everything and unhealthy is really worked very well for me. But in my older age now, I'm mellowing out and I'm actually enjoying it. And it's yeah, I mean, I'm being flip about it, but the serious part about it is that it takes as you said, Jim, it takes an insane amount of dedication. Uh, some of the guests you've had on, some of who I'm proud to call my friends, can tell. I have told
Jim,
you the same.
Jim Stanek was
The
on. Yeah.
amazing Jim Stanek. Yeah, absolutely. The Christopher Scott you've had on.
Yeah.
He's directed three of my shows. And anyway, so they'll tell you the same thing, which is that you think it's going to be much, much easier than it is in the beginning. And then you realize that it's about a 10% return rate on effort.
Isn't that amazing? I don't think most people realize that. They think, you put in 100, you get 100. No.
Yeah.
No.
No, I mean, there's all these, well, you guys know this, there's all these myths about things we're told that where it's, you make your own luck, which is absolutely true. You get more chances if you work hard, but you could work hard, you could be brilliant, you could be hyper trained, and there's that one element of luck. And if the luck doesn't happen, which is out of your control, then it doesn't happen. So I've been lucky too.
What would be maybe one of those instances, Michael, that you can call up where not only your, obvious talent did the trick, but luck also was part of it? Right place, right time, whatever it is. Do you remember one particular one where you look back and like, that there was a lot of luck involved in that happening?
You can say that almost about any of them. They say that's one thing that I think is a truism, that you should be prepared for your opportunity, whatever that is. I'd say, going back to how I first became really close with Rupert. He had an assistant, a wonderfully talented, capable assistant, who got married and moved to the West Coast. I heard about this and I sent him a letter and talked to his manager, who I knew through other people. And I said, I would like to be your assistant. And this is after I had been a touring musician for 3-4 years. And I'd already played for some really, lucky for me, great people. Anyway, I happened to hit the sweet spot where he's like, why don't you come up and talk to me? And I came up and we got along great. And this is kind of an embarrassing story, but you had asked what these pivotal opportunity moments are. So he said, well, why do you want to be an assistant, secretarial? Not that there's any shame in that, but it's not a skill set that I particularly have. I'm a trained musician. And I said, well, because I want to, you're one of my heroes. I want to find out how to be like you. And so I'm just being honest. He's brilliant. And so he gave me that chance. And I was one of the worst personal assistants any celebrities ever had. Not due to lack of effort, just due to incompetence. Anyway, he was so sweet. He says, listen, why don't we just work someday as musicians? And I thought that was the kindest way to tell me that I stink at what I was doing. Just really very kind way to put it. And I didn't think he was serious, but sure enough, a month or two later, he called me and he said, AMC asked me to create a sitcom. This is about 95, 96 or so. And he says, called Remember When? It's a sitcom. Would you like to be a staff composer for it? And when I was able to learn how to speak after that, I said, yes, sir. Thank you. Yes. Oh my God. And that really, I was a working musician. I traveled a lot. I played in front of big crowds, lots of people, all wonderful things. But this was, I felt like I arrived. I could go home that night, put on AMC, and there is my music. That was a big thrill for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. What happened from there? I mean, that was a big feather in the cap moment too. What happened from there? I'm sure, did it make the phone ring a little bit more? And there's Michael Roberts. He's good. Let's have him work with us.
Yeah, I think, when something like a first, like
the exposure.
First decent size success happens to you. You have no experience on how to, on what to expect,
right?
Much less how to negotiate it. So when something like that happens to you, you're like, does this mean I'm going to be doing a Spielberg movie next? Does this mean I'm going to be living under, the bridge in a couple of weeks? What does this mean? And the best way I could put it, Jim, is that I think what I felt like is that people would answer my phone call now, or at least they would take a second before they didn't answer my phone call. And, it's like, it's definitely a foot in the door moment.
Yeah.
But while we work on Remember When, I did a Dennis Leary movie called Love Walked In, again with Rupert. And I'd never done a feature film before, so I did music. Yeah, I mean, so when things happen, I think you know this from all the many, many people in entertainment business who you've interviewed, that there's this initial momentum, then it calms down, then there's momentum again, then it calms down,
Yeah.
So you roll with it. What can you do?
Exactly. And that momentum where you roll with it and then it's up, then you calm down, then it's up. That's you yourself as well, and your own emotions and range of emotions too, right? As much as the events.
It's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the easily made schizophrenic. I'm just being totally honest. It's a rough road, but I'm so glad I did it.
Ever think for 6 seconds of trying something different and walking away from it? You ever have those moments? Like a lot of people do?
Yeah, a few times this morning. Yeah. And, then I had coffee and I'm like, okay, I'll give it one more day.
The Java always works.
Right. I know. I'm drinking water out of my coffee cup over here.
Yeah.
I should have matched you. Drink for Java. Yes, but it's different now. In the beginning, you're like, well, what's going to become of me? Am I going to have any security in old age, whatever? Then after, by the grace of God or whatever, by good fortune, you are able to make a steady living doing it, and a decent one. Then a different kind of thing happens after you've been doing it for decades. And I have been doing it for decades. It's hard to believe, but it's true. And that is, am I doing this because I've had some success doing it? And is there anything as I get older that it sounds interesting to me? And everything does. Everything in the world sounds interesting to me.
Yeah. So you like to savor and soak it all up, right? You're an observer of life, which we talk about here on the show. And some of that probably having that keen interest and maybe higher consciousness thinking makes you, it blends into your music. Well, you got that. Let's do a toast. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Toast. We always do a toast.
All
Cheers.
the lovelies. Here you go.
Cheers.
All the lovelies back you at home, wherever
Slancha,
you are.
Mazel tov. Cheers.
Mazel tov. Salud.
So, when you think about it, all of that, what you're describing as far as, being aware of your surroundings and everything that's going on, I'm sure that's reflected in the music, right?
Yeah, although, yes, it has to be. You can't keep yourself out of it entirely, even if you try. And I try. I've always been very attracted, unlike many, many of my contemporaries, I've been very attracted in not being autobiographical. That's why I was always attracted to theater, and the television thing was good too, because I wasn't writing. The job wasn't what is Michael feeling at this moment. The job is what is the character feeling at this moment, and that always attracted me more than expressing myself.
So you enjoyed the television. You enjoy the television part of things, huh?
I know it sounds really like Pollyanna-ish, but I like every bit of it. I like the recording studio.
Pollyanna's good. Pollyanna's good. I think we have a shortage on Pollyanna and idealism. Yeah. Let's bring it back.
We just did.
Yeah, we just did here on the show. You said you saw her when I chatted with Melissa Manchester, and there was probably something that might have stood out for you in that conversation. She was wonderful to have on the show. We had an epic conversation, and that was, and I've asked a couple of guests this question, and I'll ask you as well. I wonder if it works the same way. I know with me it does when I'm creating something. She said that sometimes she'll get inspiration that will come out of left field, and she will rush right to the piano. She'll press record on her recorder and start working it out. Whatever that inspiration is that's flowing through Melissa Manchester, she doesn't want it to go away or dissipate, weaken, or be too distant. So whatever it is, she'll run out of her room, right to the piano, and start working it out as it's flowing through her, but is recording it so she can go back and hear it. Do you have those moments too? All of a sudden, you've got this aha moment, and you go and you work it out and you try to record it so you have it to listen back to and work on later?
Absolutely. Well, I guess what she's referring to is that we all have this internal dialogue or monologue. For me, it's a group meeting, and ideas will pop up out of nowhere. Who knows? And then yeah, those if they're a lyric thing, if it's something with language, English, I'll write it down because I'm afraid of if it's musical. I don't usually run to the piano to do it because of my training, and there's many people like this. When I hear something in my head, I could see the notes too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it happens all at one time. If I'm like da 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 da, I can actually see what that looks like too as notation. So it registers that way. But absolutely, you can't help it.
Yeah.
And it's the weirdest things lately. For instance, I mean, and you'll never use this stuff. I mean, maybe I don't know Melissa Manchester. I wish I did, but maybe she, is doing this so she has material to use. For me, I have a feeling that it's useless. For instance, I have this ongoing thing, and I've had for many years now, about all the different ways of doing surf and turf, as like there's sand and land, reef and beef, and so that's an idle thing as I'm walking to work or to the theater or something, or taking a train, is to come up with as many surf and turf terms as possible.
Do you get hungry during that process too?
I do. Maybe I'm hungry first, and that's why. Yeah.
And that's you're dreaming of the surf and turf.
And then then you're reaching. I have haddock and paddock. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of them. Why? I don't know. But yes, that goes to what you're saying, though.
A tisket, a tasket.
A tisket, a tasket. Yeah. Right.
So for those who are discovering you for the first time, perhaps, tell us about the music that really speaks to you the most, the genres that you've always enjoyed, not only what you play and what you're known for, which is a variety of different things as well, but also what you listen to separate from when you're taking the Michael Roberts composer, lyricist, pianist hat off and just kicking back and listening to your own material. We'll start first with your material for those watching who are like, gee, I want to know more about him. Tell us about your style and your approach and the genres that you really specialize in.
Well, in my work, which, as you said, is very different sometimes than what I listen to recreationally. In the theater work, it seems to come down to two older styles. One is the Rodgers and Hammerstein, Frank Lesser, everything in the golden age. I've had 4 off-Broadway shows, and if I could find the right material, I'm drawn to material that sounds older like that, where I can write in the old style, because I feel that 2 things about that. Number one, that it's underrepresented off-Broadway and Broadway now. I mean, I'm not being disrespectful or unappreciative of hip hop and rap and all that. It's wonderful. But it seems to be the pop or contemporary pop sound is the only sound on Broadway, off-Broadway. That's hyperbole, but it's kind of true.
Yeah.
And I feel like that it's such a rich language that I would like to do what I can to represent some of that. And then the other reason why I'm so keen on that is because the language itself is a highly detailed language that grew up for the purpose of musical theater, which is why old school musical theater sounds emotive in a way that nothing else can.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So but the other style that when I have to go pop, I'm really attracted to like the 1960s kind of Burt Bacharach kind of things.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The stuff that's kind of like,
what the world needs now.
That kind of stuff,
Walk on by.
Yeah, right.
What the world needs now.
Right, that. It's fantastic, isn't it? It makes you smile.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's all good. When you hear that, you feel good. When you hear all of those Burt Bacharach, Hal David, when you hear this material, you just feel good.
Absolutely.
And it's crossed the generations. You just hear this everywhere, and it's prolific, and it's feel good music. And feel good music is terrific. Do you dabble in the jazz world at all as well too?
I do. I for when things were really busy with composing, when I had like shows that were doing well, or when I was doing the TV stuff or whatever, I pretty much stopped gigging entirely, performing almost exclusively. But in recent years, I've missed it and I've gone back to it. So I do some cabaret work. I'm the music director for the wonderful Craig Pomeranz, and we've traveled all over, and I perform with him. And so the cabaret world is, to varying degrees, jazz influenced, or could be straight out jazz. So yeah, I do play a lot of jazz. I listen to it too.
You listen to it as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to tickle the ivories and play something for us to get everybody excited?
Yeah. Yeah. I prepared a song for today.
Fantastic.
For the Lovedies. Can I set this up?
Sure, please.
Just because it's so much better when it's set up. First of all, the piano's slightly out of tune because with COVID, I haven't really had anybody in to tune it. So the piano's out of tune, but so am I. So it's all going to be great. And
how have you been through COVID? Before you play the song, and you preface it, how have you been dealing with, pandemic and everything that's going on? Obviously, things are turning around rather rapidly too, with the vaccinations and things opening, and there's signs of light, which is beautiful, fantastic. And there's been so many teachable moments, and we've all learned so much over the course of this past year about ourselves, about our relationships, about our work, about our hopes, dreams, and desires, about the things we don't want to do anymore, the things we want to welcome into our life now. For you, what are some of those things? And I'm sure some of it is reflected in the music at some point too.
Yeah, in probably a more subliminal way, it's in the work. But to go to your question, I think it's two things. The first thing is that, as you said, we don't stop in our lives. Our lives are never designed to have a year sabbatical. No matter what you do, we go from project to project, or if you're working a regular salary job, you go, it's 5 days a week, and we just keep going. So unusual, almost unprecedented in modern times, where everybody's like, we're going to take time out for a year. Everybody sit back. And when you do that, you live in your own head so much that even people who aren't self-reflective have to question their own lives. They're like, wow, this is so weird. I'm not in my office. I'm not, so as upsetting as that is, and as financially devastating, unfortunately, has been, not to mention the absolute carnage in the early response to this thing, all the people who died.
Yeah.
If you're looking for silver lining, the silver lining might be that you do look at your life. You're forced to have a timeout to look at your life, which is, I think, what you're saying.
Yeah.
And in many cases, it's healthy.
And you did it yourself as well. And what are some things you learned along the way?
First of all, I was prepared for this in a weird way because I'm a little bit anxious. And so I've been preparing for disasters that don't exist my entire life. So when one finally hit, I was ready to go.
So are you somebody who tries to prevent problems before they happen?
I try not to, but I do that. That's where my mind goes. Yeah.
The reason why I ask that is because so do I.
Yeah.
So when they happen,
it's a Suffolk County thing, Jim.
Yeah, you try to prevent the problems before they happen, no matter what they are. And yet, when they still happen anyway, at first you say, no, why the heck did this happen? We did everything we could. We dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, and this thing still happened. The only plus side to it is maybe it happens at a weaker, softer, level than it could have been if you did no preparation.
Right. No, I mean, it wasn't like I was stockpiling,
toilet paper
supplies. Yeah, no, that was crazy.
That was unbelievable.
I was like, really? These are the worst survivalists in the world. They're like, the whole global supply chain has stopped. What's the first thing you can go for? Canned goods? No, they're going for toilet paper.
Yeah.
And what can I say? I mean, it wasn't the appropriate response. But yes, but I'm almost always prepared or I think emotionally prepared for a disaster. So when one happens, I was like, told you, I'm good to go. You know? Anyway, so
And were people pounding on the door?
right.
It
They wanted
remi-
my toilet paper.
it reminds me, I don't know if you're a Twilight Zone fan, but there is a
Mhm.
Twilight Zone episode where the Rod Serling was so extraordinary. Just his mind is so extraordinary. Yeah. And there was that episode where he and the gentleman and his wife that were in the episode were having like a dinner party with neighbors and friends, and they're playing cards and serving coffee and cake, and everything is beautiful and happy, and it's a nice dinner party at the neighbor's house. And the gentleman was telling that was hosting the party with his wife was telling the neighbors about the fact that he put in a bomb shelter in case there was a nuclear event. And of course, back then when Twilight Zone was on, there was that fear of, duck and cover under the desks type thing. So the neighbors said, "Oh, what do you need that for? What did you spend all that money for? That's crazy. That's nuts. But could we take a look at it?" And he said, "Oh, we don't have to. Let's play cards. We don't have to get serious. Let's enjoy the evening. And, we're friends, we're neighbors. We've been together on this block on like Elm Street, Maple Avenue or whatever, forever. We love each other. We're friends. Oh, no, let's take a look at the bomb shelter." So he says, "Okay, all right, let's go." And he shows him the bomb shelter and, how expensive it was. And it has supplies in it, food, all the different things. And they're like, "Wow, that's amazing. You'll probably never need it, but that's just amazing." So then they started to sort of like poke fun at the fact that he even had it. They were mocking it like it was an overreaction. And this is ridiculous. You spent all this money. I don't need to be interested in this. And, so the neighbors, as they were saying goodnight and wrapping up and going home, they were just talking about this downstairs bomb shelter that the couple had built and how frivolous it was and how overreactive it is. And just, when the time comes, we'll all just make do. And so the guy said, "Wow, gee, this is crazy, but, I bought it to protect my wife and child, and whatever happens, happens." So there is this alarm that goes off and sirens that there is an impending bomb of some sort headed towards the region. And he grabs his wife and his child, and they take some of their belongings, whatever, and they go into the bomb shelter and they bolt it shut and they lock it and they go in there and they're hugging each other. And then all of a sudden you hear neighbors pounding, the ones that mocked him before, pounding on the door. Let us in, Bob, let us in. It's Ted, it's Cindy, it's Brenda, it's Judy. Please, let it. And he's like, and the wife is like, "Bob, don't open that door, please don't, because we're in here, we're safe, and the bomb is coming," and blah, 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 blah. And they actually bust through the door, they tear apart the house, and then they're pounding on the bomb shelter, and it's just back and forth, and they're trying to rip the door open. And he said, "We can't open it. I told you we're not able to. I warned you, years ago to get your own bomb shelter. I warned you, and you mocked it and you made fun of it. Now there's only enough air and enough space and food in here for me, my wife, and my daughter. We can't let anybody else in. We can't. I told you guys to do this earlier and you laughed it off." So he obviously doesn't let them in because there's only enough air and food and supplies for the three of them, which he planned for. And they're pounding it and they're trying to, get a wrench and a crowbar and rip the door open. And the neighbors actually rip the door of the bomb shelter open with like an angry, seething, animalistic crowd. It's amazing how an hour earlier, you're at a dinner party, everybody loves everybody, and the next minute it's like animals fending for themselves, survival of the fittest. And the husband and the wife and the child is crying, the wife's, bundling up the child, and Bob says, "Oh my God, what did you do? Oh my God, oh my God." And they ripped it open and they came in, and then there was an announcement that it was a false alarm.
Ah,
There was no bomb coming. There was nothing coming. It was just a false alarm. And that was it. And now the bomb shelter is destroyed, and the ending of it is just them coming out of the bomb shelter and the neighbors just looking down and just going back home, uh, frazzled from what happened, but not really apologetic for what happened. And they go upstairs and their house is like in shambles when an hour ago they had all those friends over for a dinner party. And just how, you know, an ounce of prevention is a good thing, but also how, human society can turn on a dime sometimes.
well, the same. It sounds like perhaps one thing you might have been getting at is that the same uh, insecurities and fears and selfishness that make a nuclear bomb attack possible is inherent in the way those people behave about trying to stay safe from one. That our inability to work together causes the bomb problem and causes this horrible damaging reaction to the threat. So yeah, I think there were instances of that during the COVID outbreak, but there were
Oh,
also,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely, we know there were, but there were also wonderful moments of largesse and charity and beautiful works people did too.
Yes. And making do and helping one another. And like I say, I hope we all come out of this more empathetic, compassionate, and
Yeah,
collaborative, and we work together. We realize the world is meant for us to be together.
right.
You're not going to like every single person and like every single thing to the nth degree, but you should at least make an attempt, and so should the other person. And
Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice if everybody's like, I
yes,
think your ideas are absolutely damaging and crazy, but I don't hate you as a person? That would be awesome.
right, exactly, right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's good stuff. And hey, Michael, good observation. I think
Thank
that's
you.
Ann Kittredge. I think
Oh, thank you,
maybe.
Anne.
So tell us about the song that you want
Oh,
to
yeah, I forgot.
share with us.
This I want to do a song. I want to be in the frame. I just disappeared for a second. Uh, that's at the end of the Jim Master show. You kind of
You just fade to
you got to
black.
find, yeah,
You just
fade to the
go,
right.
yeah.
Anyway, so this is one of the things during the pandemic is I had two shows that one that was at very very beginning stages and
Yeah.
one what was almost done, and I actually was able to finish both of them. And this is the first time I've written a show for off Broadway, wherever this goes. Um, that was my idea. Every time I've been lucky enough to work on a show, it's because another writer asked me to write music, to write the songs for it, or a producer has asked me. The wonderful Eric Krebs had me write Golf and had me write Greed and all that. But anyway, so I wanted to at least have one show that was my idea.
Yeah.
And so I created a show based on my early experiences in the independent rock scene when I got out of grad school. I moved back to New York in the 80s and later 80s, but this is takes place at that time. And that's why the score is a little poppier than I would normally write. But this is sung by the lead singer in the band, not in performance. This is actually her on her own when she realizes that the guitarist, who she is always been in love with, is actually now falling in love with someone else, and she tries to be philosophical about it. And it's called The Smallest Amount of Love. And if you don't mind me making 2 seconds of microphone adjustment,
No, that's fine. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are just like, oh, what any old microphone placement will do, but that ain't me.
Yeah,
All right. So
exactly.
am I still here? Good.
You
All
are
right.
still here,
Oh
and
my God.
you're live.
Oh no. Don't tell me that.
This isn't Memorex, it's
Oh
live.
no. Anyway, so it's called Smallest Amount of Love, and it goes a lot like this.
All right.
Here we go. Some people spend the best of their lives looking for someone for the rest of their lives. Those people make a quest of their lives for the smallest amount of love, the smallest amount of love. Some people take the search in their stride. Some people learn to swallow their pride. Some people just won't be denied the smallest amount of love, the smallest amount of love. Someone's waiting out there, I know there's got to be. I'm waiting for her out there, all about that. But is she looking for me? Some people find it hard to ignore the place in the heart that keeps yearning for more. Those people will keep searching for the smallest amount of love, the smallest amount of love, the smallest amount of love.
Very nice.
Thank
That is
you.
beautiful.
Thank
When
you.
did you write that?
It's a bit of an anomaly. It's a bit of an outlier because it's not an anomaly. It's an outlier because
Maybe a combo.
If you're going to use big words, Michael.
Yeah, nominally. Outlier.
It's an outlier because one thing I don't do, it's not a point of pride, it's a point of opportunity, is I don't repurpose songs. If I write a show and the show doesn't get produced, as we all have shows that aren't produced or whatever, I don't try to find another place usually for those songs. But that song I wrote as a standalone song many years ago. And I was working on the show Starfall. And I said, I really need to write a song that's like the smallest amount of love for this show. And then I said, okay, it should be a lot like that song. And then I'm like, I have that song. If I just put that song in, I could go out with my friends and have drinks, you know? So drinks sounded good. So I put that song in there and went out for drinks.
That's a very smart move. Very smart move.
Of laziness and efficiency. Yes.
I like that. Then we have Brother You Are. We have that actual clip. Tell us about that.
Yeah. We were talking just a few minutes ago about the
Jim
first
and
response,
Nick.
to Jim Stanek and the amazing Nick Wyman, and guys who I've worked with. I mean, what an honor. We talk a lot about different things in Broadway, off-Broadway, whatever. But if you really boil it down to why you keep doing it, for all the heartbreak and difficulties and all that, because someone like Jim Stanek and Nick Wyman sing your songs. Megan McGinnis sings my songs. Betty Buckley sang my song. I mean, you cannot do better than that.
Yeah.
You know? It's so anyway, the way Brother You Are came about was I knew I was going to be okay through the pandemic. I don't know, not physically, but I knew I had enough other work going on where I was going to survive it. And my heart went out to my friends, the performers, because, and you know, I'm a performer myself, and that was shut down entirely. And so I contacted a press rep who I know, who said, why don't you do something to raise money for the Actors Fund? Because they're really doing good work for everybody. And so I said, okay. And I wanted to write something specific about the pandemic. That wasn't particularly morose, but the New York Times, as you may remember, had, maybe they still do, but certainly had a series called Those We've Lost. And Those Lost profiled certain people from all around America who passed away from the pandemic that week. And I would read them and they were sad, but of course for a writer, it's rife with material. And so I read this one story about these two brothers up at a ski area in Vermont named Cleon and Leon Boyd. They were in their 60s. One was a trail groomer on Mount Snow, which is a wonderful mountain. Plug for Mount Snow for the skiers out there. And one was a custodian at a local school. And they were twins. And they died of COVID within a week of each other. I think Jim Stanek had mentioned a lot of this.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that just spoke to me. And I said, I want to write a duet for the two brothers who've been so close for so long, where where it's not like my brother is dying, that's horrible and I'm going to survive this, but where it was almost inevitable. The closeness of twins, which I don't know, but I can imagine, is so close that the loss
that was beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm so sorry for those two wonderful guys. But anyway, so that's the song, and it's to raise money, and I think the link is still up. So if someone goes to the Actors Fund, if they feel like doing something wonderful for the people who entertain you for a living, who have not been able to make a living, then please, even if you don't donate based on my material, please just do your best. Anyway, so that's what that song is. And I got two of my friends, Nick Wyman, who everybody knows on Broadway.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
Yeah, and also president of Actors Equity, and the amazing Jim Stanek. And I called them, and I said, and this is at the height of the pandemic too. I said, "You guys want to risk getting sick for and to sing this song?" And they're like, "Are there separate vocal booths?" And I'm like, "Yes." They're like, "Sure, let's do it." So that's the song. That's how the song came about.
Separate vocal booths. Exactly. That's all it takes.
Or one vocal booth with like deep cleaning between. We did the best we could. It was a pandemic.
Do you know? Write that down. Does that not sound like a song title? We did the best we could. It was a pandemic.
That is what the 2020 is. We did the best we could. It's a pandemic.
Yes. It sounds like a new Broadway play, doesn't it, too? Somebody's going to come up with something, I don't doubt. Movie
I take that
or
as a challenge, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. A big one. Absolutely. Let's play that. It is very touching and it is very beautiful. And I think it's going to move a lot of you, our wonderful viewers. Hey, everybody, welcome. If you're just tuning in, we're approaching the 4 o'clock hour here. My very special guest is award-winning composer, lyricist, pianist, extraordinary talent, fellow Long Island boy originally, he and I. Walt Whitman Mall and all these.
Melville, yeah.
Melville, yeah. I worked at all the places there, too. I worked for WLNY TV 55 and interned at Cablevision when they were launching News 12 and all the TV stations, radio stations out there as well. But yeah. People ask when they ask where you live, they what exit?
Right. Well, what exit were you?
Were you 52?
50. I was Bagatelle Road.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's
for those people viewing from the Netherlands or South Africa.
Yeah,
they like, I have no idea what that is.
They're like, get to the song. We will. Brothers, you are. Brother, you are. Yeah, and in this case, the two brothers, and they were, I believe, if I recall correctly, they were like in their 60s.
64.
Yeah, you're right. So can you imagine? And very close, and
they lived together their entire lives. The family, they had a compound, New England, mountain compound. Yeah, and the whole family lived there. Yeah,
very, very touching. Let's share that right now, everybody, and enjoy. And we'll be back with my special guest. More music and more inspiring conversation, and levity and levity coming up on the Jim Master Show Live.
Who is going my way? brother you are. Who's the start of my day? Brother you are.
Who's there tapping the trees? Brother you are. Who's there shooting the breeze? Brother you are.
Who is with me when the cold wind blows?
Who is with me in the mountain snows?
Who is going my way? Brother you are.
Who's there sharing a laugh? Brother you are.
Who is my other half? Brother you are.
In the mirror it is you I see.
You're my reflection staring back at me. Who is going my way?
Brother you are.
Singing songs we've known all these years, passing out tunes like souvenirs. And who is leaving today?
Brother you are. Who is dimming the day?
Brother you are. If you tell me that your time is through,
Brother, I will walk away with you.
who
Is leaving today?
brother you are.
That is very moving. It's the second time we've aired that on the Jim Master Show live, and yeah, the impact doesn't get any less. It really is, and there's been a lot of those stories in the past year with everything that's happened. But just gives us time to pause and think again about the really important things in life that matter most. It's the love of family and friends and relationships, and those simple things that sometimes the busyness in our lives, the calling upon us for our attention and our energy all the time, we lose sight of, we lose track of, or we forget about, or we don't tend to, or we don't fertilize or nurture because we're being pulled in so many directions. We have to sort of chase the brass ring and keep moving forward, like the earth seems to be spinning even faster. And then you see things like that and you're like, wait a minute. That's not what it's all about. It's about the simple things, the love and the joys in life that matter most, right?
Absolutely. I mean, and it's a cliche, but it's true. And I've been told this by many, many people who are older than me, that they don't. There's never a moment where they, where now that they're older, where they say, "Boy, I wish I spent more time working at this, more time working at that." It's they said, I wish I had more time with my puppy, or more time with my grandchildren, or more time just looking at the sun, or not looking directly at the sun, but what I'm saying, just
indirectly,
being, like,
yeah,
putting a hole in a box
going
and looking at it,
going to the ocean. We talk a lot about that on the show. I'm very, it's a Zen place for me, the ocean, because growing up where you and I grew up on, Long Island, we are surrounded by water. We're North Shore, South Shore, all sides of water, the ocean, the Atlantic on the south, the Sound on the north. And we're a couple blocks from the water here where we are on the coast. And It's a very Zen place. I think one of the reasons why, not just because of growing up near water and being in it all the time and near it, it's something larger than me. And yet it's universal and it breathes life and it has a rhythm and a tide and a predictability in a way that no matter what goes on in the world and all the craziness, the ocean's still there. And here comes the tide and just like the sun going up and down, setting and rising every day like clockwork. So, I've been saying a lot on this series that during the crazy times in life, like what we've experienced and still happening to a degree, surround yourself by the constants: music, get out in the yard, work in the garden, go to nature, go to the ocean, go for a walk in the forest, get the bike out and cycle, talk to family, pick up the phone, call, what have you. Surround yourself by those people and things that are constant, because everything else seems discombobulated and maybe there's a disarray, and it can make you feel very like there's no foundation, like suddenly your legs are weak.
Yeah.
And your anxiety and all these things that people have been dealing with come to the forefront. So surround yourself by things that and people have been doing that also with nostalgia. They've been craving a lot of nostalgic foods and music and entertainment, whether it's television, old movies, theater presentation type stuff, music. They've been craving their childhoods, the past, in the house, baking bread and, making apple pies. And it's like, almost like, gee, why did that ever have to stop anyway?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't have put it better. It's that we need those things to reorient ourselves. I don't think it's an accident that back in the day, in our day when we were growing up on Long Island,
And you said it right too. You said Long Island, not Long Island. I don't say
Long Island.
I don't say
Yeah.
Long Island. Do you?
No, the only people who say Long Island are people who
Not
who hear that you come from Long Island. Yeah.
Right. And when they say when they're going to go visit, they say we're going in Long Island as opposed to on.
Yeah. Who are these people?
We're going in Long Island.
If you learn nothing else from this episode of the Jim Masters Show, it's not Long Island. No one on Long Island says it that way.
And you're going on it, not in it.
Right. It's an
Because
island.
it's
Yeah, if you don't
actually
have
it's
you need
separate from the
shovel.
mainland. It's not actually attached to the United States of America other than by tunnels and bridges and boats. It's 180 miles long and 30 miles wide, and it's detached from and Long Island is not part of New York City either. I've had relatives in New England for years, always thought that Long Island was a borough of New York City, even though it's next to it. And Brooklyn and Queens are physically on the island, but that's the city. Nassau and Suffolk are really Long Island.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think part of it is that Nassau butts up literally right up against Queens and Brooklyn, I guess, too. Is that right?
Yes, Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could cross the street, be on Long Island, or be across the street and be in Brooklyn.
And your taxes shall change greatly.
Oh my God. Yeah. But yeah, so but what you're saying is exactly right. Goes to what we're talking about at the beginning of the program, which is that I do now in my life, I want to take more time for real things that are not about entertainment business or anything, as much as I enjoy it. I travel an awful lot, sometimes for work, but I travel a lot for pleasure when I can, and that feeds my spirit or whatever.
Your soul, right?
Soul,
yeah,
yes.
Your soul, exactly. Something else that I know you mentioned earlier that feeds your soul is working with the incomparable Betty Buckley, and I love her. She's fantastic. Last time, I mentioned this before on the show, but the last time that we were together, I saw her was at the 100th gala birthday celebration of the Schubert Theater in New Haven, Connecticut. And what they did is they brought in many of the performers who've graced those stages over the years of the Schubert. and she was one of them as well. Rex Smith, you remember Rex
Sure, of
Smith?
course,
He was there
Pirates.
too. Yeah,
Pirates pen
that's
band.
right. Yeah, exactly. And he had that one hit, I forget the name of it, that was very, very popular back then. But Betty's is glorious. Now tell us about this one, the beloved, this
That's another, yeah, I mean, I
very
think,
touching one too.
thanks. I mean, I guess there's two stories. There's a story of how the recording came about, and there's the story of where the setup of the song itself. And this goes back to the TV show on AMC. Remember when we did a Christmas episode, which was twice the length of a regular episode. It was like a full hour long because we were a half-hour sitcom, and we had two guest stars on that. One was Peter Noon, Herman's Hermits, who I had been touring with until the time I kind of stopped because I had this amazing opportunity with Rupert. And so he was one of the guest stars, but the other guest star was Betty Buckley, who I did not know. I had never met. And so we got to know each other just a little bit on the set, because one of my other jobs on the show, besides composing, is sometimes I would have to go onto the set. Like a lot of things in New York, it was shot in Long Island City, Astoria, Long Island City, and show the actors kind of how it looks to play the piano more, realistically or whatever. The great Carolee Carmello, Mary Stout, just, amazing actresses. Anyway, so once in a blue moon, as I think, as a kind of fun thing, they put me in a couple episodes. So I happened to be in the Christmas episode, in the scenes with Peter, in the scenes with Betty. So I got to know Betty a very little bit.
Yeah.
Many years later, I worked with the great, book writer Charlie Shulman on we had written two shows, Fartiste and the one that played 2 seasons ago off Broadway called Goldstein. There's a poster there for that. And anyway, so we said, well, this one song seemed to be like, if you're lucky, you have a song in a show that kind of like that one stands out a bit,
Right.
If you write enough of them, something's going to stick, right?
Right.
So anyway, the general consensus among the team was like, that is a really good song. And they said, wouldn't it be nice if someone, of some fame sang that before we even went about pre-production of the show. And I'd always thought Betty Buckley is one of the great singers, who ever has been on Broadway. And on 8
Is Enough.
8 is absolutely
With Dick Van Patten.
Absolutely. Yeah. And was that one with Christy McNichol, or that was Family something?
Oh, you remember that one? One of the greatest shows of all time, Family. With Christy McNichol, Seda Thompson, James Broderick, Matthew's father,
Right.
Meredith Baxter Burney,
Wow.
and Gary Frank. The Lawrence Family in Pasadena, Family on ABC.
Yes. I'm sorry that I'm conflating the two. I'm sorry.
Of all the shows that Aaron Spelling was known for, Charlie's Angels, and he was like a prolific TV producer in the 70s and 80s, Aaron. They interviewed him once and they said, of all the shows you've done, Aaron, all of them, they're all hits. What is the one you're most proud of all of them? The one that really speaks to you the most? He said it was Family.
Wow.
Yeah, he said it was Family.
You used to be able to do those kind of dramas in those days. They were wonderful.
That house still exists. That house where they use the exterior shots in Pasadena still exists. I was on a TV shoot in LA about 2 years ago, and I wanted to see two houses. I wanted to see where the house that they used the yard and exterior shots for Family, which they also used actually in other movies too. The people that owned that house, I guess, lent it out for movie exterior shots too. Yeah. But most notably for Family. Beautiful, $1 million neighborhood, gorgeous house. I think the house just recently sold for $3 million.
Because it's such a nice house, or because it has that association?
It may be the association, but also the neighborhood, very beautiful, immaculately kept, and tree-lined streets, Pasadena, suburb of LA. Sure. Just really, really beautiful. And then the Brady Bunch house. And the Brady Bunch house, they were doing the HGTV special where they were doing a very Brady renovation. So what they did is they brought all the Brady kids And then HGTV stars like the Property Brothers and some of the other home improvement stars combined them together. They took the house that was the Brady Bunch house, which was only used, it's in North Hollywood, towards North Hollywood Studio City. And they only used the exterior, just the front wide shot of that house that really exists there in North Hollywood. And they never used the inside. They never used the backyard or any of that. Just that one shot when, they would transition back to the show. Do, 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 do. And they would show the shot. Well, it turns out the inside of that house didn't match at all in any way, shape, or form what the set looked like at the Paramount lot in Hollywood where they filmed the Brady Bunch. So they had this incredible idea, HGTV, it's like last year or maybe the year before, I think it was 2019, to buy the house because the woman who had it for 1,000 years, I believe, had passed away, and then the family was going to sell the house. And there were all these people who wanted that house. Lance Bass wanted the house, and lots of people, anybody wanted the Brady Bunch house. And I think Lance Bass almost got it, but then HGTV, the network, put up the money and bought it so they can gut the inside and turn the inside of this regular house in this, neighborhood that only looked like the Brady house from the exterior, because it was the exterior shot they used. It didn't even have the window in the upper left-hand corner. The real house didn't even have the window. Producers added that window for the series. So it never had that upper left-hand corner window, but they gutted it, and they gutted the entire inside and actually replicated what the Brady Bunch house looks like inside. Everything from the furniture, that was only, I think, a one floor. So they had to make the second level for the bedrooms upstairs. They took the backyard, turned it into exact with Tiger's doghouse and all. It was amazing. It was an expensive project, but it was great. And they made a whole TV series out of it. So when we were out there, we had to see that because the transition was extraordinary, really, really extraordinary. There's a little TV trivia for you from the TV guy.
Yeah, I always thought the inside, which I know is a soundstage, it was beautifully designed. I think we all did. I think when we were kids and we were watching that, we were like, that is a cool house. How come my house isn't that cool?
Robert Reed, Mike Brady, the architect.
Yeah. What an great man, great architect, great actor.
Yeah. And Florence Henderson, who I've had an opportunity to chat with multiple times, and she was a delight and missed greatly, of course. She was a beautiful person inside and out, very approachable, very affable, like Cara Burnett is, very approachable, very affable, like Betty Buckley is.
Absolutely.
You come
very
across
gracious
and right. Exactly. Go on YouTube and type in Betty Buckley and type in Wheat Thins, and you'll see a 70s commercial that she was in where she played a mom in a Wheat Thins commercial. I tell you.
That's so weird. I'm not kidding. We went on the air live at 3:00. So I was like, well, I don't want to eat before we do this and all that. So I ate early and I had Wheat Thins. That's so weird, which I never eat.
See?
I saw the Betty Buckley video to approve it, and I had some Wheat Thins, and I came on the Jim Master show. That's so weird.
See? And it's a Long Island thing.
Yes, with Entenmann's cake and
Entenmann's and
Dairy Barn,
White Castle.
We're alienating your international viewers.
I was going to say, they're like, oh, what's this White Castle thing?
Love it.
So tell us more about this, what we're going to see here. It's beautiful.
Many, many years later, I just, through mutual friends, I got Betty's contact info, and I said, I wrote to her and I said, it's highly unlikely that you remember me from the TV show, but if you do at all, or if you want to pretend you do, just be nice to me. Would you mind listening to the song? And if it tickles your fancy at all, would you at all consider please recording it? And she did. She said, send me the song, let me listen to it. And she said, yeah, I think this song is something that she could lend her inestimable talent to. So anyway, so that's how the recording came about. The song itself, and I'd like to set up the song. So as I mentioned, this is from Goldstein, the last show I had off Broadway. And it tells the story of 3 generations of a Jewish immigrant family who came over, Ellis Island, very kind of well-known type of story. Anyway, the woman who comes over is a 17-year-old woman named Zelda. And she comes over from the Ukraine, right? And so on the boat, the 17-year-old traveling by herself, she meets a guy on the boat and they fall in love. He's a year or two older. And he says, "Where are you going after you get to Ellis Island?" She says, "Well, I'm going to New York to stay with relatives," which, as you know, is what, my relatives did. And he said, "I'm going to Chicago." He said, "But I'm going to send for you. And we're going to start our life in America together." She says, "I'm going to stay with my aunt. Here's her address. Send me your information. I will leave, get on a train, and join you in Chicago. And we're going to start the American adventure together." Anyway, so she gets to her aunt's house and nothing happens. No letter. And she waits and she waits and she's heartbroken. Obvious, of course.
Yeah.
And she decides at one point that she's not going to give in to the misery, the sadness of having a broken heart. So she becomes a very steely person. She hides her emotions away, and it is largely responsible for her becoming a kind of overbearing matriarch of the extended family. And in the course of the show, that has repercussions. Anyway, late in the show, when she's quite an old woman, a younger relative of hers says, "I went to where you used to live because it's being sold, and I found this stuff in the attic. And there's an envelope with your name on it." And so this woman opens the envelope, and it's all the letters from the guy that she met on the boat, And what happened is her aunt didn't want her to go away. She didn't know who this guy was. So she kept all the letters from her. And so she realizes at age 70, the entire life she could have had. And so this song called Beloved is, I think it'll be pretty obvious in the video, are a series of letters. And she reads the letters one at a time as they were written to her from this guy. So that's the setup of the song. I hope that's helpful. But just if it's anything Betty Buckley sings, sounds beautiful. So
absolutely, positively, yeah.
Please
And
enjoy.
it is very beautiful. You're in for a treat, gang. Here's the incomparable Betty Buckley.
Beloved, though we only have just parted ways to our separate and uncharted ways, I will return, beloved. Then I swear we'll never part again. I will lock away my heart till then, if you'll have me to. I will be there, my love. Just say you share my love, beloved. Tell me what to do. Beloved, all this time I haven't heard from you. All this time and not a word from you. You're silent still, beloved. 7 months have come and 7 passed. Could your love like seasons fade so fast, leaving me alone? Where is your reply, my love? Why do you deny my love, beloved? What's become There were plans we made, dreams we shared, goals agreed and love declared, a promise of eternal ties. Now I see your words were lies. Beloved, your intentions now are plain to me. There is no need to explain to me. You just don't care, beloved. I've decided I can fight no more. So, beloved, I will write no more. I will say goodbye. The dreams we once believed can no longer be retrieved. Beloved, how you could have been beloved if you had just let our love begin.
Very beautiful, very, very beautiful. And the use of the cello as well, which is one of my favorite instruments too. You know, I mentioned this before. I interviewed in my professional work this Juilliard grad cellist, and we were talking about that sound of the cello, that warm, deep sound of the cello, all that melancholy sound of the cello. And I had said, you know, I'm going to throw this out there, but to me, I think whenever I hear the cello, it stops traffic for me. It sort of stops me in my tracks, and it brings up all these deep, beautiful, connecting emotions. And that whenever if the human heart presented a sound that mimicked an instrument, for some reason, for me, the cello is what comes immediately. When I hear the cello, I feel the human heart, like I feel it. I feel the warmth, the love, the melancholy nature of it, all of that sound, that depth, that bass, that warmth provides, and it stops me in my track. And when you add it to music like that, with the piano there sort of flowing in and out of it, spectacular, huh?
Yeah, I mean, thank you. It's such a, I don't want to sound flip about it, useful instrument. I don't mean to sound dispassionate about it, but it's such a useful instrument. It's versatile. It sounds perfect everywhere in its range.
Yes.
It sounds good pizzicato for those non-musicians. Sounds good plucked. It sounds good bowed. There's almost no mistakes you could make writing for the cello. If it's solo cello or cello with piano, of course, it's such as you're saying, it's such attention grabbing instrument that you have to be careful if you're using it with a singer, not to let it overwhelm the singer. With that particular arrangement, when I wrote it, the whole
Which it can do, right?
Yeah, is that it was supposed to be, the idea of the cello was, she's reading those letters, right? So the words are the guy's letters, are the guy's words, right? But by doing that, you never know what Betty's character is feeling, what Zelda is feeling, by the wonderful Amy Bermowitz and Blair Alexis Brown on Off-Broadway. But you don't know what's going on in the character's heart. And so the cello is supposed to be giving you some kind of inclination to the kind of agony she's going through reading this. I can't imagine what it would be like really being a person who had someone they loved very, very much, who thought was abandoned by this person, and then find out towards the end of their life that their life could have been entirely different. it's
Yeah,
heavy.
absolutely, but beautiful. But we do have another one that we want to share, and you can tell us about this one, perhaps.
Is this one?
That's When You'll See Santa Claus.
All right. Yeah. See, I'm really happy we're doing this one, because if someone is not familiar with my work, they're going to think I'm the most morose, depressed ballad writing.
So I figured it was good to sort of have these weaved
Thank
in a
you, Jim.
certain way.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, already I'm like, get over yourself, Michael. Yeah, but no, So as I don't know how many people know this, but I know people in the industry know this, that a disproportionate number of classic Christmas songs were written by Jewish people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Irving Berlin, White Christmas.
Oh yeah, Johnny Marks. I mean,
And if they didn't write them, they sang them. Streisand, and I mean, of all, Mel Torme.
Absolutely, Julie Stein wrote "Let It Snow."
Right.
So,
and Chestnuts Roasting Over in the Open Fire, it was Mel Torme.
Mel Torme,
and, yeah, a lot of great music.
And so there's certain, so that, and I'm like a typical Jewish kid from Long Island. So I'm like, I want to write a Christmas. I'd like to try to write a standard. So every year or so, just for fun, I try to write one. And so I have a small, chest full of these things. And so this is one of those. And again, I'm happy we're doing it, because I know it's weird that we're doing it's 90 degrees out. I don't know what it is.
That's why it's good. It'll cool people off.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. In Connecticut, I don't know what it's doing, but it's hot as hell here. Anyway, so yeah, but because no one's ever done this, I have to create demos of, like every writer, I create demos of songs and then hand them off for a show or hand them off to an artist if I can. But they always start with me having to do them with my warbly voice at home. And so this song, I got carried away and I just kept making tracks and tracks and tracks. So all the voices on it are me. The girls' voices, the guys' voices, all the instruments, everything. And so it's just, but when I knew I was going to, you're so kind to have me on the show, when I was going to appear on the show, I was like, I wanted to put the songs that we heard today, I wanted people to hear them because I like them, or they're done by people who I admire very, very deeply. But this one, I'm like, we have to do something fun. And like you said, it's hot. This will cool us off. It's just a fun little Christmas song. What can I say? Don't have a good setup for this one, Jim. Sorry.
Every day is a good day to celebrate Christmas. It's a joyful time, right?
Yeah, last Christmas sucked, so we might as well have
Last Christmas was rough. Nobody got a chance to get together. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, here we go. Get that eggnog ready, folks, and those chestnuts. That's it. Yeah, I got the coffee.
Yeah, I'm pretending it's eggnog.
Yeah. Here we go.
After the autumn leaf piles and before the springtime thaws, when it's 7 below as you're lying in snow, that's when you'll see Santa Claus. Look for the reindeer flying and listen for guffaws. If you look to the sky, you will see them go by. That's when you'll see Santa Claus. As a child I had a fantasy that I'd be the first man to see the reindeer on the roof.
Believing in St. Nicholas used to be ridiculous. Now I've got proof.
Don't look for explanations, it ignores all natural laws. Sure, it's hard to believe, but each Christmas Eve, that's when you'll see Santa Claus. That's when you'll see Santa Claus. Da 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 da. be the first man to see the reindeer on the roof. Believing in St. Nicholas used to be ridiculous. Now I've got proof. Don't look for explanations. It ignores all natural laws. Sure, it's hard to believe, but each Christmas Eve, that's when you'll see Santa Claus. It's hard to believe, but each Christmas Eve, that's when you'll see Santa Claus. It's hard to believe, but each Christmas Eve, that's when you'll see Santa Claus.
And the nice vibes in there as well. Love that.
I
That's a
forgot-
cool song.
Thanks. I forgot there was an outro. I guess we could have cut that out. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh no, the outro's nice. I love the sound of the xylophone, the vibes.
I love vibes, yeah.
Oh yeah, that just adds a certain, I don't know what it is, a certain sophistication, but warmth to it at the same time. It's really, really cool. So
Hard
that
instrument.
song, is that out anywhere?
No. It's out now. This was really, except I mean, it's been on my channel.
So you're saying, and we have a graphic for that, this was another world premiere exclusive on the Jim Master Show Live. Wow, another one.
Another one.
Every day there's a world premiere exclusive on our show. People do these things and they only want to reveal it on our show. That is cool.
Thank you. Well, I'm happy to share it with the world because
It's a great
I mean,
song.
thank you. It's just fun, and like I said, it's a palate cleanser. You know, I mean, after all the other stuff, you know. So yeah.
Cool
The weird
stuff.
thing is that most of the stuff, when I do get hired to do one-off songs, they're almost always comedy songs. So I think that's one reason why when I do get a chance to do a long form thing like this show, that I'm like, oh, you know, I kind of also can do ballads too, or I think I can. So yeah, thank you for letting me do all those.
I think I can, right?
I can.
And that's just a little snippet of your extraordinary background and your talent, my friend. We do have some cool photos we want to do a quick run through here, and maybe you can tell us what we're seeing.
That is talk about Nick Wyman. That's Nick Wyman in the middle there.
Yes.
That is when I wrote a show called The Fartiste, which won the Fringe Festival, the New York International Fringe Festival, best musical or outstanding musical or
Congratulations.
I don't know, you know, best musical starting with the letter F, whatever it was. And
Fantastic.
fantastic, right? And it went to Off-Broadway. It was great. We had so much fun Off-Broadway. And we had there were a lot of distinctions with that show. It had the shortest West End run of any show in I think in the history of British theater. We ran for one performance, two performances, I think, actually. But anyway, but the Fringe and Off-Broadway was fantastic. And that it had tons. It was a very different kind of show for me because it was a book musical with dance numbers, which I thought was a lot of fun. Again, Mark Baker. These are all, of course, you know, veteran staple performers of Broadway shows.
Major, right?
Yeah, you have to have at least one of them in your Broadway show. That's how well known they are. This is from 2 years ago. That's Charlie Shulman. That's Joy Behar, and that's me. Forgot to comb his hair. And take a picture. My hair's a mess. Anyway, we each did a like a 15-20 minute show. There was a festival. This was a couple years ago in the city, and so Charlie wrote a show, I wrote a show, and Joy wrote a show, and so that's just the writers, I guess.
That's fantastic. That's
cool. She's lovely, and Charlie's lovely too.
Yeah, here's another great shot here. Tell us what we see here.
So this is interesting. This is
Celeste Holm, right?
That's Celeste Holm. Yeah. This is an interesting picture. For 15 years, I was a music director of Broadway Kids, which was a
oh yeah, sure.
A lot of people know it, but for those who don't, right? It's a recording group, but we also had a few off-Broadway productions that we would do, and we would travel a lot and perform with a wide variety of different people. And all these people now are senior citizens. That's how old this picture is. All those kids are adults and have their own kids. The one sitting with her hand on Celeste Holmes' leg is Andrea Bowen. If any of you people watch Desperate Housewives, that's Terry Hatcher's daughter.
Oh boy.
Julie, is that what the name of? I don't remember the name of Andrea's character.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what she was like when she was little. This is the Fartiste Off-Broadway. Lindsay Virginsky and Rachel Koff and Annalisa Leeming with Kevin Kraft, and of course that's oh my God, Brishnikov. He came to the show and he posed with my cast. That is 75% of the cast of Greed at New World Stages. Oh yeah. So in the middle, you might recognize Stephanie DeBrusso from Avenue Q. They're all just brilliant. Julia Burrows, Neil Mayer, just wonderful people. Opening night for Goldstein. I'm not going to go through every person in the picture. On the right, wearing the same beard. I think the beard he wore on your show.
Oh yeah,
the Jim Stanek beard he grew for our show. That's what I think. But of course, amazing cast in the back. There's Megan McGinnis, Julie Benko, just wonderful, wonderful cast.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Again,
another shot of
Fringe, a production number of the Fringe.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, my biggest theater success was Golf the Musical. I mean, I'm proud of it. I'm happy about it. But I collected posters of different productions from around the country and around the world. This is the Finnish production. This was in Helsinki, I guess.
Very nice. Congratulations on that too. Yeah.
You haven't heard your music until you've heard it in Finnish or Japanese. This is Golf the Musical. This is the Japanese cast album.
Isn't that amazing?
It ran it had a good run in Tokyo and then toured Japan. It was just a fantastic time.
You mentioned Peter Noon before. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that's my friend Janice, my friend Frank's friend Janice. But that's backstage. We did a big concert at the mall, on the mall in Washington, D.C. And that's us before the show.
Very cool.
Again, Fringe.
Great shot.
Yeah. I don't know who the photographer was. I wish I did. This is Remember When. This is one of the episodes that they put me in. And I was so outclassed in every way by the performers on this show. Tom Beckett and Mary Stout and all that. The show was shot on film, so it was very, very important. That's unusual. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah.
To shoot a sitcom on film. And so it was imperative that the show was well rehearsed because extra takes got to be expensive, right? So, and this cast being as brilliant, so brilliant, very rarely needed like lots of takes. They put me in this episode. That one shot took so many takes because of me.
Wow.
Because they said, Michael, you're supposed to merge into the camera, look like you're smiling. And so I did, and they said, cut. And they said, Michael, smiling, not constipated. I'm like, oh, well, know.
Be happy, right?
You look like you have problems. Yeah.
That there's that you don't like the people that you're standing next to almost.
I love the people I'm standing next to. They're the best. I miss them. I really do.
You mentioned sitcoms on film. Do you know who the very first to do that, to capture a sitcom on film was?
Not at all. No. Tell me.
Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball with I Love Lucy. They were the first ones because every other television show was on Kinescope, and Kinescope it becomes denigrated. It dissolves, it disappears. And that's why sometimes when you see some of the older shows that were done on Kinescope, it just doesn't look as great where I Love Lucy does. So I Love Lucy, Desi Lou Studios, Desi and Lucy said, we don't want to do Kinescope. We want to do film with 3 cameras. First time it's ever been done with the studio audience. And they were the first ones to do a situation comedy with 3 cameras, all the different angles, and on film, which they were able to, preserved it, and they were able to do reruns, and they created like the rerun out of it.
That much I know. I've heard that he created or the two of them created the idea of syndication.
and the whole use of film instead of kinescope, because kinescope dissolves. It doesn't have the test of time on its side like film does.
What is the media of kinescope? What is it? It's like preserved on a disc of like a or tape or
sort of, yeah. It's I'm not even really that sure because I haven't seen it physically. I should go to the Museum of Broadcasting in New York, the Paley Center, to see it. It's sort of like that, but it just doesn't have. And film, of course, you have to restore as well too, but they were ahead of their time with Desilu Studios in that case. Here's another shot.
The Jim Masters show is forever.
Well, this
Digital.
is 400 episodes. My God, we've done longer than some Broadway shows and some TV series in a year.
and you haven't degraded at all. You have not degraded at all.
And thank you very much. Hopefully, we've enhanced as we've gone along. What's funny about it, because we just, I mentioned we celebrated our big 1-year anniversary this week with a special episode. And people were like, wait a minute, how have you done over 400 episodes? There's only 365 days in a year.
Unbelievable.
Sometimes 2 shows a day, like today. We have another one in 2 hours. Yeah.
Right. I'm glad I got you while you were still fresh. There you go. That's just sometimes when you have a show that does get licensed and plays around all over, if it's close enough, I like to go see them. And so this actually talking about Connecticut, this happened in Massachusetts. This is Springfield, Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's terrible. I don't remember everybody's name, but on the left is the great Broadway actor Bill Nabel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went there and did.
Is one of them named Kane?
No,
Kane and Abel?
No, right, Nabel. Right.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, so yeah, they did such a wonderful job at that. That was one of my favorite productions of that show.
That's fantastic.
And it was always good memory. The two of the people who
when these photos pop up, that's the word most guests when they see them say the most. Shazam.
Shazam. This is at the Illustrator Society. This is a organization I belong to, not the Illustrator Society, but a different organization. That is Rupert Holmes in the middle, and Lou Christie, Lightning Strikes Again. More hits than you could shake a stick at. They both, in the beginning, were managed by the same group of people, so I got to know them around the same time. Lou, well before Rupert, but I've toured with Lou all over the country, and he's still just the most awesome guy.
I saw him at an event with Bobby Rydell, also at the Russian consulate in New York City. It was an event that I was invited to, and they were there, and I think performing as well, which is amazing.
I played for Bobby too. I've played for Bobby Rydell tons of times.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's
a fun.
That's another thing I was going to say. That's another sort of icing on the cake moment, that not only do you get to compose and play music yourself and share it with the world, but work with others and do incredible collaborations with others who perform the music as well, music that you've written and created, which is amazing.
Oh, I didn't know that was there. That's me and Carrie Butler. Broadway star Carrie Butler. Carrie, it is interesting because this was only a couple of years ago at a concert I played for her. I worked with her at the very, very, very beginning of my career. There was the Composers of Tomorrow, and this wonderful gentleman, John Zendarczyk, has a concert series. Now it's at Lincoln Center. I've done it there, but it's also been at the Donnell Library Auditorium. Anyway, so he would find what he believed were promising young theater songwriters, and he would, because he knows everybody in the world, would put you together with these world-class Broadway performers. And so I worked with Carrie, I don't know, I'm not kidding, like 15, 20 years ago. And it was just by happenstance, I happened to get to play for her again. So we took that picture. She looks exactly the same.
You don't think you do?
No. You're only seeing the front, Jim. The back is, oh God,
it's got its own other thing going on there.
The back and the insides, you don't want to know.
But the heart and the soul are the
The
same.
heart and soul stuff.
That's the
For as
key.
long as those last, yeah.
That is key.
Anyway, yeah. That is, I guess, the art for Greed. Greed was a show that started at the Playroom Theater in New York and went to New World Stages, and unfortunately did not have a long run. But I am proud of that show. I thought the cast was amazing. I thought we did a good show. Sometimes it just
Yeah.
doesn't. They don't last. You can't help it.
What are you working on now? Anything that's you're preparing for future release, future production?
Yeah, for Eric Krebs, who was a New York producer of Greed and of Golf, he and I, since the pandemic started, have been talking about a couple different projects, and there are a couple that sound really like I think that he and I both feel strongly about. And when I work for Eric, I tend to write everything. I tend to write script or book and music and lyrics and everything. So I'll probably give him a call tomorrow and we'll keep moving that. That show, there's like, I shouldn't say. I shouldn't say only because I'm going to say, oh, we're doing a show about this. And you know this, if it's so much in the beginning, anything could happen. We could change our minds and do something different.
Right. It could totally morph into something completely different because you get another source of inspiration that changes it. Speaking of sources of inspiration, what are some of those sources of inspiration for you continually to give you that oomph to want to stay in the game and continue creating in the way that you do?
It's changed a little bit.
I'm sorry, we've run out of time. Thanks for joining us. No.
Okay. Oh, no. Don't you have like an extended one where after Jim Masters after hours?
Yeah.
After hours, we can get really raunchy. No,
and then we don't do coffee. Then.
No. The midnight show. Call me.
The midnight show. Masters at midnight. See?
What are you doing this season? You're doing Masters at midnight.
I like that.
Yeah. Anyway, so what used to keep me going, and this is with very much what we were talking about earlier, is this idea that being in the entertainment business is a climb to the top, which it very much is. I mean, you want to succeed, you want to have your work seen, you want to get compensated well for your work and all that. It's not that anymore for me because I'm getting older, and it's do I have something to say? Which is why when you ask me what I'm working on now, I'm a little bit cagey about it because I'm not quite sure yet. I'm working on a few things, but one of my dearest friends, the great producer Kilberg Reedy, told me, because she advises me on a lot of things, she said it's very good that I, meaning me, Michael, write quickly and write a lot. She said, because shows are like pioneer children. You leave St. Louis with 9 kids because by the time you get to Sacramento, 6 of them will be dead, and you only needed 3. So that's kind of what it is. You just, what do I want to say? Is there someone realistically who is behind it? Because as you know, Off-Broadway, Broadway, West End, even making an album, whatever, TV shows, they're incredibly expensive. So you need someone who's that partner, the production partner with you. But anyway, so what I want to do now is speak about what you and I were talking about earlier. I want to talk about what does this how are we different now? I know that's very vague, but I want to talk about how we can all get along better. If I could find a platform of a show for that, how we can have better discourse, how we can not make disagreement personal. How can we all live in a community better? Then that's the show I'd like to write. Yeah.
I don't doubt that you will.
Thank you.
I don't doubt that you will. And
that makes one of us. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I want to show you somebody that is always my sidekick. You've probably seen him appear here and there. He was watching. He was watching, and he had a glorious time. Mr. George Burns was in the house.
Hi, George.
And he loved it.
Isn't that God? That looks an awful lot like God.
Yes, it's God. And he's got a cigar too. God smokes cigars.
You think he would? Yeah, it's an honor to share this show with him.
I tell you, it's only the best. This was a pleasure, Michael.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Oh, you know, you won't believe this, but we've chatted for just about 2 hours
Yeah.
straight, uninterrupted.
Yeah, I interrupted you. But yeah, you listened to me for 2 hours. Yeah, basically. I talked a lot.
I was gonna say you put 2 New Yorkers together, and we can definitely fill airtime.
2 Suffolk County guys. Why are we not doing this over Chinese food or pizza? We will next time.
Long Island iced teas.
Anything you want.
That is funny. We will have to get together. That would be a pleasure. And I really hope that the show met whatever expectations that you had, and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have. Michael, this was a blast on a Saturday afternoon, and we'll keep the porch light on for you to come back as well. Let's stay in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody who's watching from wherever you're watching. I know the last thing I'll say before I go is I know you have viewers from the Netherlands, and that is my second home now. So I love my orange Netherlands people. So maybe I'll see you there. Thank you so much for having me.
They're watching literally from all around the world live, and then they watch later on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, because we archive. So this is archived. You can direct people to our YouTube channel. They can see this whole episode, share it on your social media. And again, I hope the show met whatever expectations that you had, Michael.
My expectations were very high, and the reality was even higher.
I like that. I got to write that one down. His expectations were very high, and the reality was even higher. Thank you very much. Juanita says this was an amazing conversation. Thank you, Michael, for spending time with us. She's in South Africa. She's one of our regular lovedies. Kathleen is in Queens, New York. Thanks for spending time with us, Michael, and thanks for the great music as well. And Joan Sando said, what a wonderful Saturday afternoon. Thanks, Michael and Jim. Thanks for this wonderful place where all of us feel at home. I'll tell everyone about your show. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You guys are the best. And XOXO from our dear friend June Rachelson Aspa, now in Maryland and Greater Baltimore.
That's right.
Yeah, I can't wait to have some Maryland crab cakes with her. Those blue crabs from Maryland are delicious.
We'll compare Long Island seafood and Maryland seafood.
Well, we're talking about the surf and turf theme, right? And now I'm going to have a bite to eat before our 7 o'clock show. Quick little bite. This was a pleasure, my friend.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
We'll get together one of these days over knishes with mustard. That would be delicious.
You're my kind of guy.
Oh, the group Madison Skies is watching. They are a very popular UK pop group in England, in the UK, and they were just on our show.
I know. I saw some episodes. They were wonderful. Yeah.
Hi, Jim and Michael. Just popped in to say hello, Justine. Watching live right now in Europe, in the UK. Good to see you, Justine, and the ladies of Madison Skies.
Thank you, Madison Skies.
We do this show sort of in an old school vibe, the old school Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, Dick Cavett, Johnny Carson, warm talk show approach, but with a modern twist and a modern vibe of today, sort of blending those two worlds together to create the Jim Masters Show Live. I hope you felt some of that vibe and energy today.
Absolutely. I really did have a wonderful time. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. And as I say to all the guests now, go stretch those legs.
Yeah. I'm gonna go for, well, first I'm going to just put on the air conditioning because I don't want the air conditioning going on while I'm doing this.
I think here we got it too. Central air. Yeah.
I think my dog passed out. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Thank you so much.
From not being walked and let out, probably.
Yeah, both of us. Yeah.
Yeah, you were drinking the water. I should tell people, eat first and don't drink a lot of water.
Right. This is an endurance test. Yes.
Yeah. You take care, Michael. We'll get together soon. Let's stay in touch. Spread the word about our show. And it was a real pleasure. And people could find you on the material on Amazon, Spotify, other places.
Absolutely. The Goldstein record is available on Broadway Records. Golf is available. Samuel French is the publisher. Stage rights is Goldstein. My website, I think, is www.thisismichaelroberts.com. Thisismichaelroberts.com. Yeah, come visit.
Not to be confused with the other Michael Roberts. This is Michael Roberts.
Right. This is Michael Roberts. Right. You'd be amazed how many people get it wrong.
Well, Michael Roberts, this is Jim Masters saying thank you for your time this time till next time. And it was a pleasure having you. And you have a great rest of your weekend, my friend. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you, everybody at home.
You're welcome. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Michael Roberts, live from New York City, award-winning composer, lyricist, pianist, and all-around great guy. Very talented, involved with so many productions, Broadway, of course, off-Broadway, film, television, and so much more. Great day we had today with him, didn't we? Lots of great music, lots of levity, lots of good times, and with all of you. That's what it's about, gang. It isn't just us talking and chatting. I like to bring you guys in from all around the world. And with your comments and your levity, it's an awesome time. We're going to wrap up. We have a little time here in between shows. We're going to be back at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific with another extraordinary guest. There's going to be lots of music performed live. Not only do we have the special guest, but there's going to be a surprise guest joining her. That is her duet partner. And we're going to welcome him along as well. Dee O'Malley is coming up at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and she is absolutely amazing. She's all excited. She has also written music for countless television shows and movies and other artists. She's also a composer, singer, songwriter, and so much more. And she's amazing. Tonight, live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Now, if you're watching this when it's not live, obviously, just scroll through our YouTube channel and you'll see this episode with Dee O'Malley once we do it tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. If you like what you're watching, join us daily on the Jim Masters Show Live. Our regularly scheduled hours are 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. But on days like today, we are doing 2 episodes of our series. So that's Dee O'Malley. She's coming up tonight. Just want to let you know, tomorrow, Lisa Kelly, Irish soprano, one of the founding members of Celtic Woman, is with us at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's right, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, live. It's going to be amazing. And then tomorrow night, which is Sunday, at the time of this broadcast, the one and only Anita Pointer from the Pointer Sisters is going to be with us live, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Monday, the incredible, he's known as the Guitar Master, Seamus Kelleher is going to be with us live on the show. Stephen Foster is going to be joining us on Tuesday, comedic actor and so much more. And brilliant choreographer Luis Salgado is going to be with us on Wednesday. And the list goes on and on. Just a little teaser of some of the amazing guests that are coming up for you right here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Did you have fun today? Did you have a good time? I certainly hope so. That's what we work hard for here on the show. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel you're watching right now, Jim Masters TV. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our live episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live, our surprise pop-up shows, our on-location segments, and other things that we post on Jim Masters TV, like our Masters Mantras series and a new series that we're going to be creating as well. That's all going to be right there for you on Jim Masters TV. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any of the amazing content we present daily for you on the Jim Masters Show Live. Mary Bishop says, have a good rest of your afternoon. See you in about 2 hours. So we're going to eat fast. Another great guest, Jim. Thank you. And good night, everyone. Juanita as well. I can't wait for tonight's show. Dee Dee Wallace is going to be amazing. She's really, really talented. Really, really cool. And Anna Wozniak, see everyone tonight as well. June, thank you very much. Bye all. Kathleen Walker, thanks, Jim. This was great. See you later. Madison Skies, have a good rest of the day. Good evening from the UK. Amazing guest, Jim. Thank you very much. And if you guys didn't see the episode with Madison Skies, go to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, and you'll see that incredible episode with all the ladies of Madison Skies. They are fantastic. We had a good time. Thanks for another great show with Michael, a talented, kind, lovely, enjoyable music video clip. See everyone tomorrow. Outdoor theater show tonight. Hugs to all. Catch tonight's show in the archives. Christine, you enjoy. And double lovely tomorrow. Again, Lisa Kelly from Celtic Woman and her own incredible career. And Anita Pointer from the Pointer Sisters. That's tomorrow. And again, tonight, the one and only Dee Dee O'Malley. She is incredible. She really, really is. She does a lot of country music too and pop, and she's terrific. We thank Michael Roberts for joining us today live on the Jim Masters Show Live. Don't forget, we are here for you. If you missed an episode, just check out our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Click the notification bell. tell everybody about our show. That really helps the show big time. And if you missed any of our episodes, all 400 plus, 24/7, 365, they're on our YouTube channel for you at Jim Masters TV. All right, gang. As we always say here on the show, don't forget to smile. Don't forget to share the levity. Don't forget to find your Zen place. Mine, of course, loving family and friends is first, then cycling and tennis and music and writing, and of course, the ocean. Can't wait to get into the ocean, swim, surf, boogie board, sail it, as we always do. We were talking about New York today and Long Island. This is the South Shore here and the Atlantic Ocean. Also, my work in television and radio and stage and film and everything that I've done on air, on camera, behind the scenes is work that I love and is very Zen-like for me as well. All right, gang, you guys take care. And of course, as we always say before we go, boy, we have a long wrap up. Relax. Don't forget to relax, love one another, take care of one another, and take care of yourself and make time for yourself and breathe from the diaphragm. Everybody is welcome here at the Jim Masters Show Live, regardless of political views, religious views, height, weight, eye color, zip code, income, none of it matters. You're all welcome to join us here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Thanks for joining us, gang. We're going to scoot out. We have another terrific show coming up momentarily, and I am so excited to have Dee Dee on the show. She's excited, and she was recommended by one of our faithful viewers, who's also going to be a guest coming up soon on our show. So Dee Dee is tonight, and we'll see you tonight as well, hopefully. If not, we'll see you on the next one. Take care, and thanks for watching this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. We'll see you again soon.